Hello, we're going to talk about this article from La Fionda. I'm sorry if I'm screwing up the name. But before we start, I would like you guys to share this video. I never ever wanted to say that myself because it sounds cheesy, but YouTube has bottlenecked my channel, so please share it so it gets views. I don't want your money. I don't want YouTube's money. I just want people to hear what's going on, honestly. Now, this one, it says, Mexico tells how a feminist world will be. One of the guys showed me this and said, would you do a video on this? And I said, yes. Now let's read this. It's a long article. What we are told practically every day is that feminism is an ideology oriented towards equality. First and foremost, but also towards ecology, social justice, inclusion. This is hard to say. Empathic empathic relations, you're right. Attentive to minorities and the feelings of all. Of course, all that's bullshit. Of course, you guys know that minority men are just scumbag men, like the rest of us. In short, it is a peaceful and just philosophy of life that stands clear contradiction to masculinity, which is attributed to the deteriorating characteristics of force, violence, fierce competition, hierarchy, and related marginalization. Of course, men have been marginalized for the last probably 50 years, or not probably, have been. And the fierce competition is usually with other men for women. So, okay. Now, in short, the male means war and injustice. The female means peace and justice. Of course, this is bullshit because we already know that female monarchs are just as hawkish as men. If anything, the wars became greater in number than their male counterparts. It is on the basis of this oversimplified schematism that many, always too many, hope for a world governed by women, which as such would be quieter, calmer, and more sensitive and balanced than the one we have had to grow up to now, governed by the phantom patriarchy. Thank God he admits it's a phantom. Of course, if you watch my videos, you know there was a call for an all-male curfew by feminists in UK. It will not be peaceful. It wouldn't be any more than it's going to be peaceful for Black men if the KKK took over. Now, there are those who affirm these things out of pure sectarian spirit, those who affirm that them to feed their own personal visibility or specific business, and those who affirm them to carve out a niche of power. But what is most important is that an overwhelming majority of people, if questioned, would say that they agree with feminist demands regardless in general. They've got that right. They've got that right. And one of the keys to the pervasiveness of feminism is precisely this. It has succeeded in establishing itself on a global scale, true, across genders and social classes as an instrument of equity, justice, and peace. In a word, as something good, which as such cannot be questioned. He's got that right. But the thing is, of course, the driver of this is that men pander to the women at their own expense. This is the only hate movement that's ever been so successful. Matter of fact, the boys are right. It's the most successful political movement in all history. For no other reasons that the proponents of the hate movement are female, strictly. These assumptions have created and continue to create the ideal breeding ground for the flourishing of exceptions and privileges granted not so much to women in general as to those who display their membership or militancy in feminist movement. He's wrong. Whoever wrote this is wrong here. It is about female privilege. I guarantee that. On the other hand, This breeding ground succeeds in persuading people of all kinds, including the apparently more lucid ones, that we would really be better off if only female component of society governed. Now, history proves this wrong, of course, because the Spartans were female governed and the Greeks weren't. The country of Greece still exists, and Spartan is long gone. This creates the silent flanking that approves of every step taken by political feminism in the direction of a kind of sexist gynocracy, where being a man, particularly, now this is where he fails again, particularly a white and heterosexual one, is equated with belonging to a race that has become inferior after having undeservedly dominated human history for centuries. Now, he's wrong about this. He's giving into the frame. This has nothing to do with white men or heterosexuality. If you're honest, take an honest look, the feminists hate men, period. They despise the men in the LGBT. They despise gay men. They despise trans women. And they despise men of all genders. You know, when Black women talk about Black men as crap, all of a sudden their minority status doesn't matter. On the mystical level, feminism is the religion that raises the feminine to divinity, throwing the new Lucifer, represented by the male gender, into hell. This is all theory, all philosophy, or rather ideology, one might say. Blabs that can still be done because feminism still hasn't been called to the proof of the facts. He's wrong about that. I'm sorry. Facts have been shown over and over again. It's just that it doesn't matter. Look, the wage gap has been destroyed thousands of times, not dozens or 100,000s, and it still pops out. So this has nothing to do with facts. So this person is wrong here. And this deficit is partly due to its ability to evade confrontation on one hand, but also to the resistance that in many areas is still opposed to its spread. There are countries such as Spain, for example, where political feminism has succeeded in 20 years in establishing a real regime of terror contrary to every fundamental chapter of human rights. Yes, everyone, this is important because what this guy has just said is that the tougher the guy is, the more machismo that a country has, the quicker it is to fall. Tough guys are the first men to bend over and take it from the opposite sex. It's not just Mexico, it's everywhere. Every tough guy country goes under incredibly fast. Because the tough guys are the most anti-male. However, Spain does not lack an institutional opposition. The Vox Party, which, thanks to electoral successes, is called to give its opinion on feminism lies, albeit in a disorganized manner. That's right, that's what men are disorganized. The MRM has always been disorganized. Does not tell them off. It happened a few days ago, for example, during the celebrations for women's vote in Spain, where it was impossible not to give the floor to, let's see if I get her name right, Margarina Olona, MP for Vox, who in her own way tore apart all the mystified rhetoric of feminist. Video below in Spanish. Really, this woman tore apart feminist ideology? Doesn't surprise me, because being a woman, she's giving a voice where male politicians won't. No hesitation in attacking the police. Of course not. Women are not afraid of men. The police are mostly men for good reason, and they are not afraid of men. But this is not the case everywhere. There are countries that have totally surrendered, gagged and handcuffed to the wave of supremacist feminism. Yeah, men bend over every time. That's right. One of these is Mexico, or is it possible to get a glimpse of what a future in the hands of feminist sect might really look like? Well, this guy hasn't seen India yet, has he? On 28 September, the Global Day of Action for Access to Safe and Legal Abortion was celebrated worldwide. Whatever one thinks about abortion, there is one thing we can all agree on. Its free and indiscriminate exercise is one of the absolute cornerstones of feminist ideology. In many countries, especially where feminism is left unchecked, such as Mexico, the celebrations mentioned have been an opportunity to really show the profound nature of feminism. Well, pal, feminism does speak for women, and women do want control over their sexual reproduction. So the only difference between Mexico here and anywhere else is that the feminists are more outwardly saying that they're feminist. But I mean, it's the same here in North America. Women are allowed to abort their child. Let's see. The nature that did not escape the TV cameras first and then social media. So let's take a look together at how this philosophy of incursion and peace was expressed in Mexico. The affirmation of the right to access to legal and safe abortion was manifested everywhere in acts of hooliganism and vandalism. Okay, well, the women are, you guys, I'll put this article in. You're free to see this if you like. It's got quite a few of them. The women are free to destroy things, I guess. I should see it in the article if any of these women get arrested. Knowing the risk involved in this kind of demonstration, there isn't any risk for women, sorry. The Mexican authorities deployed their police force everywhere. According to the law, only female officers should be deployed in the event of feminist demonstration. It shows two things when he said this. One is that they're smart. And two, it also shows you that men do know where their place is. These men, these police officers, these male police officers beat the shit out of other men any day. All of a sudden, they're scared little boys. If Mexico really wanted to do something, they would ship the men in and say, no, your sex ladies is not going to give you a free pass. But it just goes to show you how all these tough guys were the same. There's perhaps hope that in the event of an intervention by force, they will be able to do less damage, or that the sisterhood will prevail and that conflicts will not arise between women. The images speak for themselves. The feminist marchers had no qualms about provoking and violently attacking the deployed police forces, jeering, spraying paint, and quietly getting into physical confrontations. Look carefully at these images and you will notice, if you notice anything, you will come back to this in a moment. Sorry, I screwed that up. Let me check out one of these and I'll see if it's worth you looking at. Okay, watch. It's, you guys can take a look at this. They did hit them with hammers, like these women were swatted. They didn't really attack them so much, but were just showing their domination, saying, I dare you to arrest me. If this was men and the male police came in, they started swinging hammers, they would beat that guy up and arrest him. Yeah. Oh, good. Lots of videos for them to look at. Okay. It has to be said that if you look at them closely, these girls or young girls who attack the street furniture or police officers are almost tender. All physiological inadequacy of women to physical violence comes into view. Okay, this guy's making excuses. These women are they simply know how far they can take it. And they take it as far as they can. If they thought they could actually smash that police officer with a hammer, they would. Also, you might find them getting more violent if they had shipped in male police officers, right? Because then these women really do want to hurt men. They're feminists, right? And I bet the male police officers would take it right in the face. They move and strike in an unbalanced, clumsy, awkward way. So what? To destroy a window, they need to have 20 blows, whereas a man would only need a couple of them. Yeah, and so what again? And when they hurl themselves against the shields of the forces, it seems almost a listless gesture because of how badly they are carried. In short, one would think that these are purely symbolic blows, nothing that really wants to hurt. On the other hand, it has been said that feminists carry an ideology of peace and empathy. No. Other videos seem to contradict both our impressions and this cliche. Among the officers, that were is a large number of wounded. All he's saying is the girls have less body strength than the men do. But I'm saying too, they have less interest in hurting other women. And that's why the Mexican police shipped out a bunch of female officers. There's something anarchic and antagonistic about the way feminists demonstrate. Not something, they are antagonistic. And they aren't anarchic, though. The right to abortion has nothing to do with what happens in the square. Of course it doesn't. It's just women showing their social dominance in Mexico. It has nothing to do with it. Everything seems to be interpreted in a generic aggression against the system, against the established power. Well, that's not true, actually. These ladies are showing their dominance to men in Mexico. That's what this is about. I'm in charge, not you. By the way they are dressed, more than feminists, they look like a re-edition of the Black Blocs, a sad memory. But in shouting sauce and with breasts. From this point of view, their fierce attacks on the police could make sense. The problem is that they have not limited themselves to this. Their targets were everyone they met along the route of the demonstration, as long as they were male. Exactly. Exactly. At that point, verbal provocations and physical assaults began, in the face of which most chose to flee. Let's see, just a minute, I'll check this out. Yeah, that's one where the girls were attacking the police. Maybe I'll show this. It'll come up again. There. Yeah, they're attacking guys. Okay, but not everyone manages to escape. Some are surrounded and violently attacked. In Mexico, as many as other countries, any man is afraid to react to women. He knows he risks prison, of course, even if he acts to protect himself. So here is the result. Okay, I want to check this out. Let's see. Wow, where are the police to go protect this guy? The man was trying to talk to some protesters. He was first kicked, then sprayed with paint, and finally attacked with a gang, and thrown to the ground. What is striking is the rage and fury in which one of the girls crushed his head to the ground and kicked him in the face. The outcome of attack is evidenced by some subsequent photos. So this guy just tried to talk to these people, of course. Look, these women want to hurt men, period. For the same reason that the KKK wants to beat up on minority men. Look, all you guys in Mexico, you Mexican men, would you come up to a KKK or white nationalist and try and talk to them and get your head stomped? No, come on. Guys really know their place everywhere. The images from Mexico are a warning. What we have shown you so far are just a few of the photos and videos collected in extensive reports by local TV stations, bloggers who followed demonstrations and feminism themselves, who did not fail to share their exploits on social media. See, these women can share their terrorism on this. What this is terrorism, and they can show it on social media, and social media doesn't block them, does it? Social media is feminist run, which is a travesty in any country that allows social media. Twitter needs to be held accountable. Tumblr needs to be held accountable. Facebook needs to be held accountable. The full report contains everything, especially on the damage caused by public property, but not only it will be said that these are exceptional events that took place in a country whose democracy is not yet fully complete. Okay, that is meaningless to say that. But they would be wrong. Mexico is a modern country with many problems. It is true, but is nevertheless an integral part of the advanced Western world. I got news for you, whoever wrote that. It is because Mexico is a first world country that this is happening. If Mexico was a backward country, feminism couldn't take root because the women there would want to have a man as a work mule. And so they couldn't be nasty to him this way. It's because Mexico is first world that feminism has become like this, that has taken root. It is, however, the birthplace of one of the absolute feminist myths, femicide, thus hosts one of the most extreme and legitimized forms of feminist sect. You will have noticed that this in the image of the attacks on the police. They are allowed everything. Yes, they are. When in one video, a policewoman hints at a reaction, she is pulled back by her colleagues and forced to take a barrage of insults. Wow. So I told you, so they only put in women police, no, just because they wouldn't get attacked, but these police officers aren't willing to do their jobs. See, men couldn't do this. They would ship male police officers in and they'd put the boots to men. But these guys are so women beat that even the female cops don't want to stand up to the nobility. The protesters have a free hand to attack the police, to smear their shields and helmets. In a word, they are untouchable. They are, because they are women, period. What's going on in Mexico is no different than any other country. It takes on different forms, but it's always the same. The women are in charge and they spew their male hatred and there is no consequences. Now, I don't know if I need to go any further with this article. I'll quickly read down. I'll see if there's anything worth looking at. Okay. This one I want to debunk because he talks about, he's trying to make it just about feminists and not women in particular. He said, this is the ultimate goal of the feminist sect, not equality or social justice or anything else, but to achieve status of a total privilege that allows them to live in absolute anarchy. No, you are wrong. These women do not want anarchy. They are not anarchists. Women love the government because it's through government that they can enforce the rules. You know, the police are a government institution, which these women control, obviously. They don't want the police to disappear. Look, if a woman wants to make a man pay alimony or child support, they do it through the legal system. So they're not anarchist. Sorry, this is a second-rate article. I say second rate, not bottom rate. Second rate. Second rate because it still wants to blame feminism as something separate from what the average woman wants. Okay. I'm going to repeat it here because this is where this article fails. I'm changing my mind. It's not second rate. It is bottom rate because they are going to, in this article right here, they are going to divulge feminism from women. It says women? No, absolutely not. This is the great misunderstanding and the great deception, as Macarena Olona from Spain points out in her speech, the privilege is only for women who are in the right, i.e., who uncritically embrace the dogmas from the supremacist and antagonistic female sect, a sect that wears a mask of peace, inclusion, and tolerance and empathy. See, this is misinformation. If this was a feminist sect, if it was just a sect, they wouldn't have this kind of power. They wouldn't. This woman has told a bold-faced lie. Olona has told a lie. These women, the average woman backs child support. The average woman will circumcise her male child while stopping her daughter from suffering the same effect. She definitely wants alimony. This is all a lie. So sorry, this needs to be debunked. And I'm glad I did. So I'm glad my friend showed me this and it's worthwhile. I'll put this article in the comment section and you guys can take a look at it. Thank you.